Saved object sets let you create an object set and save it to Foundry's file system for future use. Today, there's no direct way of using saved object sets in workshop applications, but there is a roundabout way thanks to Quiver, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. This tutorial assumes you're already familiar with object sets and how they work, and if you're not, I've got another video called Object Sets 101 that goes over that in detail. First, we're going to create a saved object set in Object Explorer, then we'll add it to the Quiver dashboard, and finally we'll embed that Quiver dashboard in our workshop application in order to gain access to the object set. I'll also cover what happens when the data behind that object set updates, as well as what happens when you change its logic. Let's head over to Object Explorer to get started. Here we're in Object Explorer, and we're just going to create a simple saved object set. We've got the rides in our Ontologize theme park, and we're going to make a saved object set of just the roller coasters. So I'll apply a filter, ride type is roller coaster, and then I'll hit save. So now I want to save an exploration or a list. A list is just a static object list. An exploration is an actual object set. We'll call this roller coasters, and we'll make this public. So I'll pick a project to save it in, add it in the project for this demo, click save, and great, we're done. Just to show what it looks like, let's head over to Compass and see this as a resource. By default, saved object sets are called explorations and saved in an explorations folder within the project you picked. Here we've got our roller coaster saved object set, and if we open it, it brings us back to Object Explorer. We can see that there are just the 6 roller coasters that we would expect. Next, we want to make a Quiver dashboard using that saved object set. So we'll start with a Quiver analysis, and we'll click Add Data to Analysis. Normally, you would pick from this menu bar right here, time series, objects, object types, cards, etc. But we're going to click Import Object Set, and then select it from this file browser here. Go to All Project, go to the project where we saved it, the Explorations folder, and click on Roller Coasters, and we'll bring roller coasters into Quiver. Now, that's all we need to do here. This card is a representation of that saved object set. And again, if you click on this, you'll be brought back to Object Explorer where you can see all 6 rides. What we want to do is click Add to Dashboard, which will add this object set card to the dashboard. Let's click View Dashboard. We don't need to review that. And so what we care about now is just this outputs here. Outputs in Quiver dashboards are meant for when those dashboards are embedded in other applications, and they provide a way for that embedding application, the application that's wrapping the dashboard, to access data or objects or whatever else from the Quiver dashboard. You have to explicitly tell Quiver what you want to expose to that embedding application, and how we do that is with this outputs option here. So we'll add an output, which is our roller coasters object set. Now we'll publish our dashboard, which means we'll save it in a place where we can reference it later. So I'll call this saved object set dashboard, and I'll save it in the same project just for convenience sake. You could save it somewhere else as long as you've got access to it, and your users will have access to that project. And that takes care of what we need to do in Quiver. Here we have our brand new workshop app, so let's start adding the Quiver dashboard and then using the roller coasters object set. I'll go to Add Widget to start and search for Quiver to get the Quiver dashboard. Select the one that we just made. It's going to default to the latest version. I do want it to auto update, and I need to select the output. And to do that, I'm going to make a new object set variable in Workshop that accepts the output from this dashboard. I'm going to rename that to roller coasters. And as you can see, it's got the 6 rides, the 6 roller coasters that were in the Quiver dashboard, thanks to the definition of the object set that we created in Object Explorer. Now, I want a table to show these, and we'll get to how you hide this Quiver dashboard in a second, but I'll click Add One to the right here, and let's get a table. And in that table, let's display our roller coasters. Add all properties. Display, we'll make that flex, and now you probably don't want to display the Quiver dashboard given that's just that one object set card. So to hide it, you can go to Display, click Absolute, and then give it a height or width of 0, whatever is appropriate for the section that it's in. And there we go. We've got our saved object set in Workshop as a regular object set variable that you can use for all the usual Workshop stuff. We've got it in a table here. You could do whatever else you normally do with a saved object set variable. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to add a saved object set into a Workshop application. There are a couple things to be aware of though. One of which is what happens when there's new data for that object type. In our case, let's imagine the theme park adds a new ride. What's going to happen to that table in our Workshop application? Let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to run the sync for our rides dataset, which is in S3, and that'll kick off the pipeline that builds the dataset that backs the object type in the ontology. Now that our pipeline is done updating the rides dataset and syncing it to the ontology, I expect there'll be a 7th roller coaster here when we update the page. Let's see if it shows up. And it looks like it's working. We have the Inca Trail Trial, which is the latest roller coaster added to the Ontologize theme park. And that happens because an object set is really a recipe. It's a definition for how you need to construct the set of objects that comes out the other end. And when there's new data, it just passes through that set of instructions and comes out the other side, in our case, in our workshop application. So the answer to what happens is exactly what you'd expect. If those new objects should be in the object set, well, they're going to appear in that object set variable in your workshop application. The other question, what happens if you change the logic of that object set, is a little more interesting. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go back to our object set here in Object Explorer and change the filter from ride type is roller coaster to ride type is roller coaster or water slide or 4D theater. And this should add a few more rides to our object set here. Yep, we've now got 13. I'm going to save this, which will update that object set. And now let's go back to our workshop application and refresh the page and make sure that all these rides show up. We updated the page, but they're not here. We just have the 7 roller coasters. To see what's going on, we need to go back to the Quiver dashboard, and let's take a look at that now. Now we're back in Quiver, and we notice in our dashboard, there's this message here. There's a new version of the object set available. So while new data will flow through without us having to do anything manually, if we make a change to the definition of the object set, we need to go back into Quiver and update how that object set is being used in the dashboard. So I'll click Update and Republish. And now in our workshop app, let's give this a refresh and see if all the rides show up now. Great, there we have it. All the rides have shown up. To recap, if you change the logic to an object set, you just need to update that board in the Quiver dashboard and republish your Quiver dashboard, and then Workshop will take care of the rest. So while it's maybe not the most straightforward thing, once you know how to do it, adding a saved object set into your Workshop application is pretty simple. And this is useful because it lets you do things like reuse the definition of an object set that someone else has made, or if you've created an object set for something like an object monitor, well, you don't have to recreate that in Workshop. You can just use the same logic that you created the first time. I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. If you'd like to learn how to use Foundry more effectively, visit ontologize.com or reach out to me on LinkedIn to learn more about our trainings and courses. I'll see you in the next tutorial.